Looking at the Bulls' schedule and going into this game, I penciled this one in as a loss. Not that I didn't think the Bulls would make it competitive, because they have been playing a lot better, and especially after that high-effort game they had last night against the Bucks, sending it into overtime, but because it's the defending champions. In my opinion, the best team in the league from top to bottom, with one of the best coaches in the game. But then, when I saw that Jamal Murray was going to be out with an injury, and then Nikola Jokic, who I still consider to be the best player in the league, gets tossed late in the second quarter, which I'll share my thoughts on that in a minute, I thought, okay, this should be a winnable game, especially when on that play, momentum was starting to shift a bit in favor of the Bulls. The Bulls were going on a little bit of a run. I thought close it out strong before halftime and then come out of the locker room and hit him where it counts without their star big man. Like, even without Jokic and Murray, it's not going to be a runaway for the Bulls. The Nuggets are still a good, deep team, but as long as the Bulls can stay focused, maintain the level of play and energy we have been seeing, they should be able to walk away from this one with a win. A game that most of us would have pegged otherwise as a loss. And what did the Bulls do? Well, they do what they do best, reverting back to their old ways, coming out at halftime with little to no energy, no heart, no fight, missing shots left and right, not moving the ball around as much, not playing downhill in transition. It was almost like the Bulls played better with Jokic on the court, as if they wanted that challenge, as if this was their whole game plan, it was centered around him. And then when he was ejected, they just didn't know what to do. Now, let me start on that with Jokic getting ejected. Now, you might have seen some of the post-game interviews with Nikola Jokic, and he was pretty vague in his response in terms of what was said, saying that, yeah, he crossed the line, but some guys let that word go. Sometimes it's a technical foul, sometimes it's not even that. Kept saying it is what it is. So obviously some words were exchanged after a play in which he thought he got fouled and wanted to make the ref aware about it. And rather than Jokic getting a technical as a warning for whatever language was used, they decided to throw him out of the game right there and then. And while I have no skin in this game whatsoever, considering him getting ejected only helps my team, except it actually didn't in the long run, but Jokic would have had to say something really bad there in order for him to get tossed like that. Because in my view, that's excessive to throw out a superstar, two-time MVP, who we all know the superstars in this league are a little more lax when it comes to the calls that they get from the refs, more lenient in terms of what they can say. And to have him be thrown out so quickly like that, in my view, likely says more about the ref being in his feelings, which is a bad look for the NBA. I also feel bad for all those fans who came out to see Jokic play, who's only ever in town once a year. To make it worse, it was Serbian Heritage Night in a city that has the largest Serbian population in the United States. Just a bad and unfortunate situation for all those fans who came out to see Nikola Jokic play. But anyway, not to digress too far about this game. First half was decent. Bulls started out the game poorly, but then quickly went on a run after a timeout, bringing back the pace and energy that we liked seeing over these last 5 games. Guys finally starting to knock down shots. They were flying up and down the court. And then Jokic got ejected. And like I said, I don't know if that just completely threw off their whole game plan, which bad on them as a team if that was the case, because you have to be able to make adjustments in-game on the fly, or if they just thought, well, we have this one now in the bag with no Jokic on the court. But yeah, the second half, the Bulls came out flat. Couldn't hit shots. I'll give them some credit. They hustled on some plays and grabbing offensive rebounds and loose balls here and there, but for the most part, the energy had been sucked out of them. And yes, I get it. The Bulls played last night. But you know who also played last night? The Denver Nuggets did, in Atlanta. The Bulls had a short drive home from Milwaukee, and they got to sleep in their own beds. And the Nuggets looked much more lively than the Bulls did throughout this game. Bulls just could not string together a few good possessions to even go on a small run. They led only one time in this game in the first quarter, and the Nuggets really took control of the game thereafter. Another game in which the Bulls shot the ball poorly, 41% from the field, 32% from 3. They've been able to keep their assist numbers respectable, 26 tonight, but it just goes back to more ISO, hero ball in the fourth quarter. And DeMar, I love you, but can we please just stick to what works for this team? So many plays, I was just like, what is this guy doing? Not only are you slowing down the overall flow of the offense, but driving in traffic and then not finishing makes it even worse, or turning the ball over for that matter. Not a good game for DeMar. He was 3 for 13, 14 points, was frustrated in a lot of plays, getting mad at the officials and not getting back on defense. Patrick Williams also, not the best night for him, 7 points, 2 for 8. And then the Bulls really didn't get a lot of help from their bench in this one. Javon Carter continues to struggle in finding some consistency with his shot. He was 3 for 10, 3 for 8 from 3. And I'll say it again, but the good takeaway from this game, that you're still seeing continued growth and high-level play from Coby White consistently. We're games 11 or 12 now where Coby has played well and played well in all of them, despite some of the Bulls' woes as a team in some of those games. And that continues to be great news for Bulls fans who have to look forward to something beyond this current era of Bulls basketball. We still need to keep seeing it from Coby. Can't just be a good 20-game stretch. Need to see it for the whole season. But another game in which Coby extends his streak of 3 or more threes. 8 of 15 shooting, 5 for 10 from 3. He maintains that around 50% three-point shooting since the streak started. And then Coby also had 8 assists tonight to go along with 27 points. Another great game for Coby. Check out my Coby White appreciation video from earlier this week if you missed it, by the way. And then Vucevic, a good bounce back game for him. I said before, he's really been up and down all year and has really been the most inconsistent player on the Bulls with his day-to-day outings. Last night, he was horrible against the Bucks. Tonight, when he was against Jokic, he actually did very well. Surprisingly, wasn't as dominant when he was being guarded by Aaron Gordon, which is kind of bad. But Vucevic finished the game with 26 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 for 21 shooting. And yeah, you need a big offensive night from Vooch, especially with DeMar struggling. But it just wasn't enough to get the Bulls over the hump and winning this one. I would have liked to see the Bulls utilize Vooch more in the second half after Jokic was tossed. I feel like that's a mismatch you have to take advantage of, but the ball just kept going through DeMar. Anyway, the Bulls are off tomorrow, traveling to Miami, then in back-to-back games against the Heat. Not going to be easy. I'll obviously keep you guys posted along the way. Until then, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.